Imagine a channel of water 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Just 21 miles. You could drive that in under 20 minutes. And yet, what flows through this channel every single day quietly powers your electricity, your petrol, your food, and the economy of almost every nation on Earth. This is the Strait of Hormuz. And right now, in March 2026, it is closed. Or, more precisely, it is so dangerous that shipping companies, insurers, and tanker crews have made the same decision. We are not going through. 150 vessels, sitting still, anchored on both sides of a narrow strip of water, not moving, because the cost of moving, the insurance, the risk, the chance of being the next ship that gets struck is now simply too high. Welcome to Smart Money Moves, and in the next couple of minutes, we are going to unpack everything: the geography, the economics, the human cost, and what it means for your money. We are going to go deep. This is not a quick explainer. This is the full picture. Let's start at the beginning. Where exactly is the Strait of Hormuz, and why does it matter so much? Look at the map on your screen. You have the Arabian Peninsula on your left. On your right, Iran. Between them, the Persian Gulf. And at the very bottom, where the Gulf meets the Gulf of Oman and opens to the Arabian Sea, sits this thin strip of water. That is the Strait of Hormuz. At its narrowest, the strait is 33 kilometers across. The actual shipping lanes are just 3 kilometers wide in each direction, with a buffer zone in between. We are talking about a corridor barely wider than a small town. And yet through those lanes, every single day, flow approximately 20 million barrels of crude oil. To put that 20 million barrels into perspective, the United States, the world's largest economy, consumes about 20 million barrels of oil a day in total. Every barrel, every day. If the strait stops flowing, that is equivalent to wiping out America's entire daily oil consumption from the global supply picture, overnight. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The Strait of Hormuz is not just important to one region, it is the artery through which energy flows from the Middle East to the world's biggest economies, and 84% of what goes through it heads to Asia, not Europe, not America, Asia. China receives 1/3 of its imported oil through this strait. India, Japan, South Korea, combined they account for nearly 70% of all crude flows. So when we talk about a disruption in Hormuz, we are essentially talking about a direct attack on the energy security of the most populous continent on Earth. Europe gets 12 to 14% of its liquefied natural gas, its LNG, from Qatar through this same waterway. Qatar preemptively paused LNG production in the opening days of this conflict. That pause alone sent energy prices in Germany and France spiking within 48 hours. If this part opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs to understand what's really happening to the world's money, and let's build this community together. Your share costs you nothing. For someone else, it could change everything. Now, let's continue. To understand the present crisis, we need to go back, not far, but far enough, because this did not happen in a vacuum. There were warning signs, failed negotiations, and a series of escalating steps that brought us to February 28, 2026, the day the United States and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury. In June 2025, there had already been a prior round of US-Israel strikes on Iran, significant but contained. Iran held back then. It did not close the strait. It did not mine the waters. Analysts breathed a sigh of relief and said, "See, Iran will not take that step." Iran needs the strait open too. Iran's own oil exports depend on it. What changed between June 2025 and February 2026 was the nature of the strike. Nuclear negotiations in Geneva collapsed. The Trump administration had already declared a maximum pressure campaign, aiming to drive Iran's oil exports to zero. And on February 28th, the strikes were not just military. They targeted nuclear sites. They targeted leadership. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed. When a regime perceives it has nothing left to lose, when its leadership has been struck, when its economy was already collapsing under 40% inflation and international sanctions, the calculus changes. Iran did not respond the way analysts had predicted in June 2025. This time, it closed the strait. Now, and this is critical, Iran has not technically blockaded the strait completely. Vessel tracking shows limited traffic continues. Iranian and Chinese flagged ships are still moving. On March 5th, Iran announced the strait was closed only to US, Israeli, and Western allied vessels. Turkey got permission on March 13th. India got through on March 16th. But here's the brutal economics of that partial closure. It does not matter. When Maersk, MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, and CMA CGM, the 4 biggest shipping companies on Earth, all simultaneously suspend operations and reroute around the Cape of Good Hope, the practical effect is a closure. Because commercial shipping has stopped, the barrels are not moving. This is what analysts at Kepler called a de facto closure. Insurance withdrawal is doing the work that a physical blockade has not. For most of global shipping, the outcome is the same.
So, let's take stock of where we are before we move into the economics. You now know the geography, a 21-mile strait carrying 20% of the world's oil. You know the history, a conflict that escalated from failed diplomacy to regime change in a matter of months. And you know the status, a de facto closure driven not by a physical blockade, but by the one thing that commercial shipping cannot function with: insurance. Subscribe to Smart Money Moves so you never miss the next deep dive. Share this video with one person in your circle, a colleague, a business owner, a friend making financial decisions right now. And drop a comment below telling me which part of this hit closest to home for you. The world's money is moving. The question is, are you watching it or are you watching it with us? Subscribe, share, stay informed.